As the sun sets on the Ivory Coast port of Abidjan, a team of maritime surveillance brigade set out in a leaky wooden pirogue with no weapons and nothing more than mobile phones for communication. Their mission: to hold the front line against piracy in the world's new hotspot for maritime crime, the Gulf of Guinea off the coast of West Africa. Until recently, Ivory Coast Maritime Surveillance Brigade, the equivalent of a Coast Guard, managed barely to keep a lead on crime in the waters around one of Africa's busiest ports. But ruthless Nigerian gangs, which have expanded hundreds of miles beyond their home waters in the last 3 years, reached Francophone West Africa's largest economy in October.
Logically, we should be in sea every day, but we don't have enough boats. We are forced to only go out if we have information about pirate activity.
Born of an uprising in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta, which spawned a web of criminal networks, the gangs now threaten to derail the development of one of the world's poorest regions as the Gulf of Guinea seeks to become a major oil and gas hub. The startup of large oil fields in Ghana and promising discoveries to the west in neighboring Ivory Coast have helped to stoke interest in the region from international oil firms. The spike in attacks is alarming Western powers, not least the United States, as regional governments struggle to cope. In 2010, the International Maritime Bureau (IMB), which has monitored global piracy since 1991, recorded 33 attacks in the Gulf of Guinea. Last year, that figure jumped to 58. Analysts say widespread underreporting means the figure reflects just a fraction of the total, as there is little hope of rescue and reporting attacks bumps off insurance premiums. According to US-based consultancy Sea Level Maritime Risks, there is about one attempted or actual pirate attack a day, with a chance of it going to almost 2 a day if present trends continue.
The phenomenon is localized in this geographic area, in the waters going from Nigeria to Ivory Coast. And the last incident occurred in Ivorian territorial waters with the Gascoigne tanker that was taken by pirates, and a good portion of his cargo was taken, which was made of petroleum products.
Pirates' use of rocket-propelled grenades to hold ships leave Ivory Coast police feeling helplessly outgunned.
What you must know with these pirates is that they are highly organized groups, very organized, with a specific method of operating that is very precise, planned, and very well calculated. Because first of all, they gather information and they identify the target, generally the naval transportation of petroleum products.
After 8 years and nearly 150 hijackings, Somali pirates stranglehold over East Africa's busy shipping lanes, which the World Bank says may cost the global economy $18 billion a year, is now being brought under control. Armed attacks, once counted in the hundreds, fell to 75 in 2012, according to the IMB. Somali pirates have succeeded in seizing just one vessel off the Horn of Africa so far this year. The world's mightiest navies and security firms hired by shipping companies were given a free hand off Somalia, and their robust tactics are credited with stamping out piracy there, mainly due to an absence of government. But for many West African governments suspicious of foreign meddling, a massive influx of warships is a non-starter, and most regional nations, often states recovering from brutal civil wars, ban the use of weapons by private security details. Until now, the greatest obstacle to solving the problem in the Gulf of Guinea has been a lack of interest. Analysts say piracy in East Africa has been contained after money was invested in capacity building to counter piracy, contrary to what's happening in the Gulf of Guinea. Security experts say that Ivory Coast, just like the rest of the Gulf of Guinea, has become a soft target because of a lack of law enforcement and resources. In October 2012, pirates armed with AK-47s and knives boarded a gasoline tanker named the Orpheus as it lay at anchor in Abidjan. After subduing the 24-man crew and smashing communications equipment, they sailed 650 nautical miles to a rendezvous point off Nigeria, where they stole as much of the cargo as they could. In all, the operation took 4 days, but the pirates knew there was almost no chance of being caught. Ivory Coast did not possess a single vessel capable of patrolling on the open sea.
We pray to God that this doesn't overtake Ivory Coast, that what happened on Somalia's coast doesn't happen in Ivory Coast, because it's a dangerous phenomenon and difficult because the interventions at sea are not obvious and they require a lot of resources.
The United States has helped train and equip Nigeria's Navy, the region's dominant seagoing force, in an effort to give it the tools to clamp down on the threat emanating from its waters. But there has also been increased regional will to combat piracy in West Africa.